Who would you switch places with and why?
1, 2, 3 point.
Olá, eu sou Mariana Mortani, sou jornalista, roteirista e tradutora. Estou aqui no YouTube e nas redes sociais falando sobre protagonismo sáfico em livros, filmes e séries. Uma das séries que eu mais amo acaba de ganhar uma segunda temporada com episódios semanais no Prime Video e eu tive a honra de entrevistar o elenco principal e a criadora da história. Eu estou falando de Harlem, série que segue 4 amigas na faixa dos 30 anos tentando equilibrar a vida profissional com a vida amorosa. Harlem ganha ainda mais pontos por abordar questões importantes dessas personagens de forma segura e também hilária em diversos momentos. É uma série comfort que vem pra divertir e nos fazer refletir a cada novo episódio. E hoje eu tô muito animada pra compartilhar a entrevista com o elenco. Eu espero que vocês se divirtam aí do outro lado e peço pra deixarem seus likes, né? Assim esse conteúdo alcança mais pessoas e eu posso trazer mais entrevistas assim pro canal. Se você tá passando aqui pela primeira vez, eu torço pra que você se inscreva e me acompanhe nas redes sociais também. Tem muita indicação de histórias com mulheres que amam mulheres por aqui. Se Harlem está aparecendo aqui nesse canal é porque nós temos mulheres se amando e é óbvio que eu fiquei muito animada e nervosa pra entrevistar Jerry Johnson, que é uma atriz que eu amo e que faz aniversário no mesmo dia que eu. Eu já disse aqui no canal que se viesse um gênio da lâmpada com 3 pedidos pra mim, um deles seria passar um aniversário com Jerry Johnson e Oprah Winfrey. Nós 3 compartilhamos a mesma data e é óbvio que eu não podia deixar a informação passar, né? Então eu falei logo na hora de me apresentar.
Hi, so nice to have the chance to meet you. And Jerry, we share the same birth date, so happy late birthday. Hope you have a great time.
Comecei já descontraindo aí, em seguida eu quis evidenciar que a personagem Tai é muito importante pra mim e que as atrizes parecem ter a energia, o humor das suas personagens na vida real também. Pra quem não conhece a série, vale dizer que Tai é uma lésbica desfém, super segura de si no trabalho, ela é CEO de uma empresa, a mulher é poderosíssima, mas enfrenta algumas questões de vulnerabilidade em relacionamentos. Enquanto a Camille é uma professora universitária super inteligente, responsável por parte da narrativa da série, com seus estudos e reflexões aí relacionadas à antropologia, mas está em luta consigo mesma por não ter a vida mapeada como ela gostaria. Então eu perguntei a principal característica que elas tinham em comum e qual a característica totalmente oposta às suas personagens.
Opposite of you.
I think Ty and Jerry are alike in the fact that we are queer Black women, but also in the fact that we are very much go-getters. And I feel like where I'm an Aquarius, I feel like Ty is probably a Virgo or Capricorn. And so with me, there's a little bit more airiness and optimism. Whereas with Ty, I feel like it's more rigid. It's more like, this is the line. And I also feel a little bit, I know that I am more spiritually connected than Ty is. Ty can be a fuck girl a little bit. Ooh, can I say that? Can I curse? Whatever, I said it. So we're different in that way. But I do think that sometimes women meet me and they expect me to be a fuck nigga too. But that's not me, y'all. That's not me. I said it. It's out. Print that.
Let's just take a step further. Can I say that? Okay.
Right.
Depois foi a vez da Megan Good responder e ela me deu uma informação maravilhosa. Camille é a personagem mais próxima de si que ela interpretou.
I would say I'm a lot like Camille in the sense that I'm extremely driven. I'm gonna go after what I want, no matter what. And she's also awkward, you know. I think there's a duality to her where, you know, she can be confident, but she can be insecure. She can be sexy, but she can be awkward, you know. And so all those things together, I think that that's something that I very much can relate to. And I think that where we're different is that I think that Camille gets in her head a lot and second guesses herself a lot. And I think Megan will get in her head, but she won't really second guess. She'll just jump off the cliff and just go for it. She might be like, well, what do you think about this? But ultimately, she's going to do what she's going to do every time. And Camille might be like, but yeah, you're right. Yeah. And then she might try that. She's like, no, that didn't work. Maybe I should do this. Yeah. No, maybe I should do this. Where, you know, I feel like I'm a little bit more like, okay, I know exactly what I'm going to do and I'm going to do it my way and I'm not going to second guess myself. And so, yeah, I feel both. Like, I totally feel immersed in her and totally understand her, but I also feel like there's parts of me that's different as well. But Camille is the closest character in terms of energy-wise I've played to my own personality.
Eu tava bem curiosa pra saber as respostas da Gracie Byers e da Shoniqua Shandai, porque acompanhando as duas na vida real, no Instagram, a gente consegue diferenciar demais a postura e a fala delas das suas personagens. A Shoniqua chegou a mencionar que a Angie é muito mais extrovertida que ela, e a Grace falou também sobre o lado mais expansivo da Queen. Confiram.
For me, it's fashion. I think Angie and I shop from the same stores, the same closets. I have put together a vision board. That's usually how I dive into characters first, is because I'm like, okay, what are they going to wear? If anything, I'm going to look like her. And so I had a vision board of like all of the clothes I thought she would wear. And our costumer, Deirdre, she had almost like, I think 7 out of the 10 images I had, she had. So I innately understood her aesthetic or the way she presents herself. And the thing that's most different is that Angie, I think, is way more outspoken than I am. Way more outspoken than I am. I could take a few notes from her. I find that like I always used to be, I would say like a prisoner of words unsaid. And so I'm definitely learning to be more honest in the truth, but maybe she could, relax a little bit on her truths. But definitely I think that's what separates us the most.
We love her for it. We love her for it. And I think for me, it's Quinn's joy, so I think that's very comparable in my own life. So it's like I'm naturally like a really happy, kind of positive person. And so I feel like that joy is very paralleled. And then I feel like we live on different energetic planes, right? So like Quinn is up here a lot, and so she kind of lives in the skies, and that is reflected sort of like in her naivete and in her like, her hope for love and like all that stuff. She kind of lives up there. And I would say that I'm a little bit more earthy and, a little calmer. And I definitely have my fun moments, but I live at a lower energy than Quinn. And so I think that I got to really gear myself up in the mornings for Quinn sometime. Like, okay, here we go. But I so still love that about her, but that's where we differ.
A Gracie Byers acabou surpreendendo ali também quando precisou responder qual a personagem que mais se parecia com ela, porque a resposta foi a seguinte.
Oh my gosh. Maybe Camille, I would say, because Camille has this charisma about her that's really nice and lovely and wonderful, but then Camille also finds herself in these very like vulnerable, awkward, kind of goofy moments that, just makes her very endearing. And I feel like I'm way more goofy than I'm not many times. Like I can't tell you how many times I've embarrassed myself like in public doing all sorts of stuff, like just there's an introverted quality that I have that whenever I see Camille's, her little goofiness, it makes me feel a little bit more seen. And so I would say that quality I feel like I identify with a lot.
Pra mim, um dos pontos mais fortes de Harlem é ter mulheres adultas compartilhando suas vivências pessoais e profissionais. Ainda bem que temos muitas séries jovens falando, sobre vivências LGBTQIA+, mas, poxa vida, é bom saber, que tem vida além da fase da descoberta, E como eu disse na introdução, eu entrevistei a criadora da série, foi uma entrevista muito especial pra mim, porque a gente fala de carreira. Ela é um dos meus exemplos na área de roteiro, então eu espero que, além de deixar muitos likes aí nesse vídeo, vocês já ativem as notificações pra conferir a entrevista com a Tracy Oliver, que foi pessoalmente muito importante pra mim. Mas eu quis saber da Megan e da Jerry qual era o grande ponto positivo da trama para elas.
Friendships? I think on the show you can tell that these girls are more than just friends, they're sisters, and I think that is transcended into real life for us. I think that mostly everything in the show feels very realistic to me. Like the characters don't feel like caricatures. Like I know each one of these people, I know in real life the versions of them, and I also know the characters and other friends that I have that are real life people fully formed as well. So I think that the most positive thing is when you can authentically be your full self around your friends and you're 100% accepted and loved unconditionally. And that doesn't mean that they lie to you or they're not honest with things that they feel like maybe you need to work on or maybe you should be thoughtful about or considerate about, but it doesn't mean that you are truly yourself, and it's always a safe space.
And that is a positive reflections of Black sisterhood. I think there are a lot of, just like with reality TV, there's just a lot of different kinds of content out, but these women clearly love each other and everything comes from that love. Doesn't mean there's not going to be any miscommunications, doesn't mean that people aren't going to get their feelings hurt and things like that, because there's an investment in the relationship. But I think that there is something beautiful about the unconditional love that we always come back to. It's like the table at Luelle's, right? It's like that check-in point. We always come back to the check-in, to the unconditional love to each other. And I think that's a beautiful thing that I don't know if I've seen in abundance before with Black women.
Nós sabemos que mulheres lutam diariamente por condições melhores de trabalho e para esmurrar várias portas, né, do mercado de trabalho. Não é nem abrir, é esmurrar mesmo, né? Nada vem fácil. E muita gente acaba mudando de área até se encontrar, porque tenta ir num caminho que pode dar dinheiro, mas não vai te fazer feliz. Ou tentou algo que faz a pessoa feliz, mas ainda não tá dando dinheiro. Mas a Shoniko e a Grace decidiram a carreira que queriam muito cedo. E elas falaram como foi fazer essa escolha de forma inconsciente até lá atrás.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah, I feel like I've always been a performer.
Yeah.
I remember singing a part of that world from Little Mermaid, and honestly, I remember the most visceral response I had to something on screen was seeing Angela Bassett in What's Love Got to Do with It. I was far too young to be watching that movie, but I recognized the pain that a Black woman experiences and not being able to use your voice, but everyone else wanting to monetize from your voice. It was the fashion and the music, and I remember watching it over and over again and saying, I want to do that. And I didn't quite know. It was such a young age, I didn't even know what acting was, but I knew I wanted to do exactly what she was doing and make people feel the way she made me feel and inspire people to find their own strength the way she did in that film.
I think for me, growing up in the Cayman Islands, acting is not, it's now starting to become much more of a viable profession or career. So as a child, I didn't ever think, oh, I'm going to become an actor. But I did love to perform, and I did find a space of belonging in performance. I felt like this is one of those spaces that calls me to be my unique self, right? And when you grow up feeling like you don't fit in anywhere for multiple reasons, it felt like a safe space, right? Which is kind of a bit of a juxtaposition because you're exposed, right? And so it wasn't until I just kept pursuing that performance aspect. And then it wasn't until I got to college that I was doing plays for fun. And I was pursuing my degree in theater arts, but never thought theater performance, that a director pulled me aside and said, you could do this as a career. And I was like, really? And just needed to hear someone kind of give me that permission. And that was the turning point for me to say, okay, a Caymanian hasn't really done this before, but maybe I can be one of the first, and kind of started to go down that path.
Foi interessante escutar as duas falando sobre pertencer a certos lugares, né, e as suas carreiras, porque foi algo que eu almejei pra mim também. E algo que eu tento passar pra vocês no canal, nas redes, ao mesmo tempo em que eu fico preocupada de parecer que foi fácil, porque não foi. Mas é fácil idealizar a vida perfeita e se comparar com as pessoas na internet, né? Porque a verdade é que a gente não fica compartilhando perrengue, né? Eu lembro muito da minha época da faculdade, que eu não compartilhava nada, meus perrengues no ônibus, meus perrengues no trem, não ia tirar meu celular da bolsa no transporte público, mas tava lá, animadona, nos intervalos das aulas, e as pessoas ficavam assim, nossa, eu queria que a minha faculdade fosse tranquila assim. E em Harlem, é incrível acompanhar as personagens passando por perrengue, aprendendo com os erros e lidando com os erros de forma equivocada, porque no final das contas, todo mundo é falho, né? Em Harlem não tem mocinha pra te fazer sonhar em ser perfeito ou ter relacionamento perfeito. As camadas e os ensinamentos são reais, e isso aproxima demais a gente das personagens. A partir disso, né, dessa reflexão, a Jerry e a Megan reforçaram algo muito importante, que a internet pode até romantizar certas coisas, mas Harlem aborda tudo de forma responsável e real.
Yeah,
For sure.
I think with social media now, right, there's a lot of ways that we can romanticize life and make it more fairy tale. But then what that does is that robs people of the ability or the knowledge on how to deal with like real life situations and consequences. And so because you can say something on the internet and then go away and you don't have to deal with the bomb you threw, I think it's beautiful to have reflections of like people who are figuring it out. And like in your mind, sometimes you're like, oh, this might be my fairy tale ending. And then it happens and you're like, no, that was a little fucked up. that was not good.
Yeah.
And so because of that, I think it gives people the opportunity to humanize those decisions that we make in everyday life. And also what I love about season 2 is we start off where we left off. So it's not like, oh, Camille did this thing and now it's a year later
Right.
and you're picking up from wherever. It's like, no, this is how she had to deal with
We're gonna deal
what
with
she
this.
did. Exactly.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I think that what I really love about the show is kind of exactly how you explained it, where, you know, these type of decisions that we all make at different times in life, for whatever be the reason, they all have consequences. And they also tell us a lot about ourselves as well, you know, whether good, bad, indifferent. Rather it's saying like, oh, what you did was messed up, but also, you know, you're an extremely passionate person or whatever it may be. And I love that we really have those conversations. Like there's some revelations that Camille has about herself that I loved. Like I was just like, I love that she's saying this, because we all have these moments as we become more self-aware and emotionally intelligent and all those things, and that's a process, that's a road. And so I love being able to actually like verbalize and then also show that part of the journey.
E isso já entra no próximo tema que a gente conversou, porque como influenciadora, hoje eu me preocupo demais com o que eu compartilho, porque tantos influenciadores e tantas opiniões disponíveis na internet, às vezes fazem com que a gente fique meio que trocando de lado, né? Numa corda bamba e diante da nossa própria opinião. A Shoniko aproveitou esse momento, né, para falar sobre a dificuldade de encontrar a sua própria voz na internet.
Really a really great question, because I feel like it can go both ways. I think with there being so many voices, it's easy to get crowded with opinions, and I think the more we start valuing other people's opinions is where we lose the respect for our own voices and thoughts. So I think because of the cluster and the access, and there's so many people just vying for attention and influence as much as possible, I think it's very easy to not only lose track of your inner thoughts, but also become overwhelmed and not sure where you fit, because now there are so many spaces, and it offers a great opportunity to like find your comrades, find your community. But I can imagine as a shy child in the South being like, where do I belong right now? Because it's just so many voices.
I would have to completely piggyback on what Shaniqua said. I was literally having this conversation the other day about the cacophony of the world, right? Like there's so many things vying for our attention. So you have like social media, and then you have advertisements and bulletins. And I mean, you can't even go on YouTube without a commercial coming in. And so there's all of these things that are trying to get your attention and to take control of the narrative in your own space. And so you almost have to, I agree with you. I think it's harder. I think you almost have to make an effort to quiet those voices, to literally say, I'm going to take a step back from the screen, take a step away from my phone, and really be intentional about how I'm sculpting that time out to check in with me, because that voice that's inside of you, it is a quiet, still, strong, firm voice, but it can't, I think it's hard to hear it when there's narratives and things on the outside that try to control that. And so I agree with her entirely. I think it's just about kind of checking in and noticing also on the outside what has your ear. Because whatever has your ear, more than likely is going to have your voice.
Esse desafio de se encontrar em meio a tantas opiniões é refletido na série de uma forma muito, muito importante. Na entrevista com a criadora, né, que vocês vão poder ver, eu tô falando disso toda hora, né, mas não se esqueçam de se inscrever, gente. Realmente foi uma entrevista que eu amei muito. E ela deu detalhes importantes sobre as mudanças da história, desde a ideia até a concepção, e revelou uma parte fundamental do roteiro pra essa segunda temporada. E já sabendo disso, porque a entrevista dela foi a primeira que eu fiz no dia, eu fiquei muito curiosa pra saber como que Tai e Camilo, que são minhas personagens favoritas, iriam lidar com questões pessoais relacionadas ao amor nessa temporada. E encarar o passado e de onde vêm as nossas frustrações, os nossos exemplos familiares, né, principalmente, às vezes é muito dolorido. Então Jerry e Meghan compartilharam o principal conselho amoroso das suas personagens, que compartilharam com elas e que irão passar pro público a partir do que irão encarar nessa temporada.
That you need to find you first. That's how you get on the road to finding your person. And don't give up on love is the most important thing. Like, don't give up on love. And I hope that we are not getting so far away from what love is, that people are just like so independent and so I'm gonna do this by myself, that we don't honor partnerships. And I think partnerships are important, and it can be romantic partnerships, friendships, like those type of love bonds are really important. So if you foster the love that you already have in your life, it only attracts an abundance of love. And sometimes I think in the search for partnership, people forget that there is other loving relationships that they can foster and harness in their life already that will help prep them for the love that is to come.
Yeah, I mean, I just went through a divorce last year, and I'm currently not dating anyone, and I'm excited about loving myself this season, like really like honing into what I want, who I am, how I love myself, how I experience life, what I want for the future, all those things. And so my Valentine's Day, for the most part, is just going to be about me, and God is my lover and my boyfriend. And, and I think that the biggest thing that I'm learning is just like waiting, understanding that we have to truly love ourselves and take care of ourselves first, so that when we do have that person come into our lives, we're fully formed human beings, and it's not one of those things where the person completes you, but you are complete unto yourself, and that person is not a necessity, they are a gift, and you treat them as the gift that they are. And so I would just say, take your time and have perspective, and understand that even in the waiting period, there's so much growth and so much amazing things that are supposed to be happening, and you're supposed to be present for those things, so that when you do come to the other side of it, you are fully formed and able for what's next.
Na outra sala de entrevistas, a Shoniqua e a Meghan falaram sobre o que as desafiou mais nessa temporada, porque dar mais camadas para os personagens significa também demonstrar mais vulnerabilidade. A Andy, por exemplo, é uma personagem que tá sempre rindo, sempre debochando, e às vezes ela parece bem inconsequente, parece até perder um pouco do seu lado mais humano pela forma como ela lida com algumas coisas. Mas agora a gente vai poder ver os medos que existem por trás de certos momentos de risada.
In season 2, I was challenged more, honestly, about wanting to elevate. Like, you want to tap into the energy of the character and remembering that, but that's easy. It's not as hard as season 1 because you can just go watch it. But it's like, okay, now how do I make her even more human? How do I make her even more well-rounded, even more vulnerable? Where are the moments where I can keep to the nature of the humor and the wit and the fun that is Angie, while also showing what she's gone through in season 1, which is like everything fell apart for her. And so I found that was a little bit more, not even difficult, but like the game to play within each scene is like, okay, where can the strand of her humanity and her fears fit in every moment, even when she's laughing?
Absolutely. And it's like, I feel like season 1 was an introduction to the characters, right? And so we only have a half an hour, to just kind of introduce you to who they are and what they're all about. And just like, I wouldn't say that it's surface, but you're limited. And then in season 2, because all of that is done, you get to go a little deeper. And so with each of these, just like what Shaniqua said, right? Like you're trying to find ways to, what else can I reveal? What else can I share? What other secrets, what other crevices that are inside this human soul that I can, kind of help to expose little by little. And that's just a testament to Tracy and the writer's room and their writing and Scott and everybody who, they're looking to make these characters 360 degrees and flesh them out and make them really human and relatable. And so I would say the same, yeah.
Ainda nesse ponto de aprofundar personagens, agora na segunda temporada de Harlem, tem uma outra coisa a favor da série, os episódios semanais. Como telespectador, eu adorava esperar todos os episódios pra ter a temporada toda ao meu dispor, mas hoje, como produtora de conteúdo, eu vejo a importância de ter um respiro entre os episódios. Se a gente exige mais responsabilidade, né, das pessoas envolvidas nas séries, é importante ter tempo pra debater e evidenciar esses debates com mais tranquilidade. Gracie e Shaniqua concordaram com isso.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I knew this question was going to come. And I said, so as we were getting ready today, my hairstylist actually said this, and I love it. I told her I was going to say it. But there is such benefit in kind of waiting in between episodes because we do live in like an instant gratification world where we're used to getting everything now, downloading now, microwaving it now. And she actually said, and I really resonate with this, where she said, I actually like that there is space in between shows when they do it like this because it causes you to think. When, after you see the 2 episodes, in this case, you're going to have a week to really ruminate and really think about this and ponder the circumstances and see how you feel about it so that by the time you watch the next 2, you kind of have an understanding of what it is that you saw in a different way and how it may relate to you. And so I when she said that, I was like, yes, I totally resonate with that. And I was like, if they ask me this question, I'm finna say it. And so that would be my answer to that.
Yeah. For me, I like the delayed process for kind of the same reasons. It allows me to talk with my community about it. Like if you watch a show and you binge it, you can talk after, but it's not the same as like being able to, what do you think is going to happen? So I think we're going this place. And it just allows for you to create more expectation. It makes the show a little bit more of a community feel, or being able to gather with your friends multiple times, but also just like share those discussions about how it affected you a little longer. I think with like the one giant drop, as we call it, I think it just like loses a little bit of that because then it's like here today, gone tomorrow, and then there's something else to discuss. So I think it elongates the process, but it just brings in your friends and family a little bit more. And I love having those conversations with my family after watching something.
There's like water cooler
okay,
moment.
Yes, we immediately FaceTime like,
what'd you think, girl? Yeah.
Yeah. So it allows for that.
A Megan e a Jerry reforçaram que os episódios semanais irão ajudar a posicionar melhor as personagens e ajudar o público a entender quem elas são e como elas se posicionam no mundo.
I think season 1 was the unfolding. Mm-hmm. And because now we've introduced you to these characters, because you know these women, because you feel like these women are your friends, I think season 2 is us being in different ways. We approach a lot of different subjects, and I think things are able to flex and flesh a little bit more because we already set the foundation in season 1. So I feel like season 2 is us being off to the races.
Yeah. I agree. It feels like you got to established, like, okay, this is who this character is. This is, who she is, how she moves in the world. She's not a caricature. She's a fully formed human being. Got it. I understand who she is. Season 2 is just like, okay, she's about to hit the fan. Let's see. Now that I understand who these people are, let's see how they move in the world and what comes to them and what they experience. And season 2 is good. So yeah, it's good. It's spicy. It's awesome.
Como eu fiz parte de uma roda de conversa, outros jornalistas fizeram perguntas que eu adoraria fazer, mas sobrou um tempinho para mais uma pergunta na mesa da Jerry e da Meghan e me deram a vez. Na hora, sem pensar muito, eu quis saber uma curiosidade.
So the four of you really drive the show and all your different energies combine to make such a fascinating experience. But if you had to play on any other character for a day, who would you switch places with and why?
1, 2, 3 point.
Yes, I would switch places with Camille just because I think Camille is brilliant, and I love anthropology and I love teaching, and so I feel like I would be able to be connected to that character in a very, very, very deep way.
I love Ty because she's a beast, She's smart, she's confident, she's successful, she knows what she wants, she's unapologetic, and I also love the journey that the character takes this season, especially because I think that she's asking a lot of very real questions that are important because it's rooted in other experiences that we've had in life. And I think anytime someone is really being self-reflective, it's an important thing to be able to showcase so that people can say, well, maybe I need to go inside,
E assim a gente finalizou a entrevista. Eu fiquei muito, muito feliz. Eu espero que vocês tenham curtido o resultado dessas entrevistas aqui. E fiquem de olho, né? Porque a entrevista com a Tracy Oliver vem aí. A gente falou muito sobre carreira, de como foi a concepção da ideia de ter o trabalho reconhecido, mais curiosidades sobre Harlem, direto da mente criadora. Então me contem o que vocês acharam aí nos comentários. Me digam se vocês curtem Harlem tanto quanto eu. E não esqueçam do like, que é importante demais para apoiar meu conteúdo e me ajudar a alcançar mais pessoas por aqui. Um beijo e até os comentários.
Your way out of the room.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you so much.
Amazing questions. Yeah, really good.
Thank you.